of the things that y'all have been a leader in is open book finance.
Yeah.
And how many years have y'all done that?
We've probably done it for 20. I would say for the first 6 or 7, not that great. For the last 10 or 12, a lot better. But I'm a huge believer in open book.
For people who aren't familiar
Yeah.
with it, how would you?
Well, the most common misconception is that it means you show your employees your financial statements, which probably is fine, but doesn't really help a lot because A, they don't really want to read them. B, that even if they do, they don't understand them. In fact, most business people, small business people, don't really understand them either. So this is a sad truth. So open book management or open book finance, I mean, the best way I can explain it is it's an active system that engages everyone in the organization in running the organization. In order to run the organization, they need to know the numbers. So it's not about teaching them numbers. It's about teaching them numbers in order to help the organization get better. So the financial literacy is a means to an end. So my simple metaphor is like I drive a car like most people, but I really don't understand how it works. But I do know if the gas gauge gets towards empty that I'm in trouble. And no, I mean, so it's the same thing. Like it really doesn't matter understanding the ins and outs of balance sheets if you understand that cash going down is a problem, that without profit it's hard to fund cash over time. If you don't, if you understand cost of goods and et cetera, then you make better decisions. And so, at a really simplistic level, I mean, if the person on the counter has 3 cheeses they could sell and they know that one you run a 40% cost on, one you run a 50% cost, and one you run a 60%, they can sell the one that your margin is bigger on. I mean, and it's not rocket science, but in most places they have no clue, so they're just making up their own version. And then also because most people have no clue what's going on with the money, they go with the stories that the public makes up, which is that we're all millionaires or better gazillionaires, and we have so much money we don't know what to do with it, when the reality is the owners are usually in the back room with the bookkeeper trying to figure out who's going to get paid. No, I'm serious. Who's going to get paid that week? And the public, has no clue, and they don't understand that, the profit that shows up on your books doesn't go to the owner. It goes first to the bank payment, second to taxes, or in either order. Then it goes to buy capital equipment, and then if you have investors, you got to pay them back. And then after all of that, some might go to the owner. But the public's lack of understanding and the staff's lack of understanding just contribute to bad decisions.
You said that you didn't do it very well the first how many years? What were some of those missteps?
Well, the biggest, it's pretty simple. The biggest thing, there's 3 steps to great finance, which we adapted from the folks at Great Game. The first is know and teach the rules of finance. The basic premise of the whole thing is that business is like a game in a professional sport sort of way, and that if you don't know the rules, it's very hard to play the game well. So right now, while we're sitting here, World Cup is going on. Because I grew up in an era when soccer was non-existent in the United States, I have no clue other than that the ball's supposed to go in the net, and I don't know any of the other rules. So if you were to put me out there, the odds of me making good decisions are very, very small. Knowing the rules doesn't guarantee success, but it certainly increases the odds. The third step, I'll skip ahead to that, is to share the success, and we've been doing that a long time through gain sharing plans. The second step is to keep score, and that's where we sort of fell down, because the key of the scorekeeping needs to be consistent regimen. And so really now everybody does weekly huddles where they report and forecast, and it's all done on big whiteboards, so it's very visual. It's not reading off financial statements. In fact, it allows you to pretty much move completely away from the financial statements for all of your day-to-day operation. So without doing those weekly huddles, it's just too easy to disconnect from what's going on, because people don't really know, are you up 20, down 20, is there a minute left? And also because they weren't taking responsibility really for the numbers. When they're in front of their peers every week talking about forecasts, it becomes their number.
Have you seen anything in particular that you could point to since, really nailing this, that you find has improved the business? Is it on a week-by-week basis? Is it on a month-by-month?
With open book, it's definitely week to week. I think you can do month to month, but it's too far. I mean, it's like you're playing football, but you only check the score at halftime and at the end of the game. I mean, or basketball is actually a better metaphor, because you can go from up 10 to down 10 in 2 minutes if you're not careful. And it's the same in the food business. I mean, you could for 2 months you could be doing great, and then whatever, two major ingredient costs went up. Nobody noticed it. They didn't reprice their recipes. You had a large stock of a product that turned bad, and before you know it, you went from being up 4% to down 3%. And if you don't check till 6 months into the year,
Yep.
it's hard to make a proper adjustment. So it's really week to week, and that keeps people need practice, and the reality is nobody that we're hiring has any idea how to do it. And even the few people we have with business school background don't know how to do it either, because open book is completely different than the old model too.